Hey, I'm Nicholas Dane. This is Pure Uncut Lakers. I'm going to talk about the NBA All-Star Game today and why players don't play hard in the NBA All-Star Game anymore. There's no game today. The Lakers aren't playing. It's Friday. They just got through losing to Chicago last night, so I'm going to go a little different route today. If you want to know why players don't play hard, it's really not that hard to understand. There's too much to lose. You gain nothing in an All-Star game by letting John Morant cross you over. You play defense on him so hard, he crosses you over and makes a commercial out of you. Not only do you lose that play, you lose all kinds of endorsements, right? John Morant won, you're going to lose all kinds of endorsements. Some dude with a little bit less to lose than Kevin Garnett, than LeBron James, than Steph Curry, right? He's going to get out there and he's going to do something to somebody to bring his name up. What does LeBron James have to gain by trying to contest what's the young boy in Minnesota? The Leaper. I can't remember his name, but what does he gain by trying to contest his shot? Right? Or his dunk? He gains nothing by trying to do that. Right? Bam Adebayo dunks on somebody. Somebody literally wins and somebody literally loses if he dunks hard enough on that person. You know, quote unquote, getting posterized, right? That means that lives on beyond that play. If you want to know why players don't play hard in the All-Star game anymore, it's because there's too much to lose. And if you think about it, what's really crazy is the same people, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Skip Baylesses of the world, right? People in that industry, they complain till the cows come home about the NBA All-Star Game being, oh, the guys aren't playing hard, this, that, and the other. They are the ones making the most money from these guys not playing hard. People, if they played hard, right, that's a day and a half or two story. If the NBA players played hard in the NBA All-Star Game, that's a day and a half or two story. If the NBA players don't play hard in the NBA All-Star Game, that is a week story leading up to the game and a week or two story after. It's people complaining until they start playing in the regular season again and the NBA All-Star break is done. These dudes don't play hard because there is nothing to gain by playing hard. You play hard in an NBA All-Star game and you get crossed over, you get dunked on, you get 8 3-pointers rained in your face, right? What do you win? Really, the bigger question is, do you lose anything? The answer is probably yes. In today's day and age, in which everything is filmed and everything lives forever, you probably lose something if you get dunked on. This made me think of Donald Trump can't say anything to shock anyone anymore. Can't say anything. There's nothing the dude could say that's going to resonate in today's society for more than 24 hours. Right? He's gone and kind of normalized deviance to the point that no one could say anything about what this dude is saying because no one cares anymore. Right? And sometimes when I think about the NBA All-Star game, I think the same way. You know? Everything these guys do, more so than football, more so than baseball, more so than hockey, more so than NASCAR. Everything that the guys in the NBA do is going to be critiqued and criticized as if, you know, it's the only league in which the players just don't care. The NFL All-Star Game sucks. Major League Baseball game All-Star game sucks. Even though I'll give Major League Baseball this, because it's a non-contact sport, it's easier to have a good game, to have a good All-Star game. I mean, but for all practical purposes, the game sucks, right? NHL game sucks, right? Why is everybody always talking about the NBA? Think about this. NBA has 82 games a year, and everyone's always yelling about shortening the year, right? How many games do they play in hockey? Ice hockey, how many games? 82 games, right? How many do they play in baseball? 162 games. Have you ever heard anyone talk about shortening the NHL season or the Major League Baseball season? Why the NBA? When people talk about ratings, right? Just think about this. When people talk about ratings, why is it the NBA is getting these huge television contracts? Why? Why is it that hockey is not a laughing joke because of their ratings? Everyone knows you can't find a hockey game on television if you were Sherlock Holmes. Why aren't they a running joke? Right? Baseball. When you go and see a baseball game, half the time, look in the stands. There's no one there. How come no one's talking about that? And then flip that, right? With the NBA again, why is it that they have these huge television contracts? Because the NBA game is probably the most watched game in the world. How come people can't articulate that? They can't explain that in such a way that you understand it. Because they don't want to explain it in such a way that you understand it. Because crapping on the NBA is big business. It's the opposite of what people do with Donald Trump. Listen to these quotes. I go to a woman and just grab her by the pee. I want to make Canada the 51st state, to the point that he's putting tariffs on Canada. Greenland needs to be ours. Inject bleach to kill COVID. Dude said this. Imagine if Barack Obama had 5 kids by 3 women. Imagine that. How would that go over? Would that not be fitting every stereotype that ever lived? Would people not be yelling, quote unquote, or making jokes about Barack Obama having baby mama and stuff like that? That all those terms we know is loaded. We know are loaded. We know they would use against Barack Obama if he had this rap sheet. Dude cheated with an adult film star. Right? Now, take the NBA. Right? And look at what they're in the news for. What I just told you about President Trump will not stick. It can't stick. No one cares anymore. He's normalized deviance. No one cares. Take the NBA in this All-Star game, and now everybody cares. Right? It's kind of two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? The NBA is doing just fine. They need to keep doing what they're doing. And you could only hope that in time society comes around to the point that they realize just how hypocritical they're being. I don't really know what else to say about this. The All-Star thing bothered me for a long time because the NBA really tries to put on a show. And the NBA has the most visible stars in the world, right? For example, if you watch football and your favorite player is Barry Sanders, right? Now let's go a little bit more recent. Saquon Barkley. Say your favorite player is Saquon Barkley, right? Barry Sanders was a show when I was younger. But let's say it's Saquon Barkley, and you're watching the game. Let's face it, you're going to watch Saquon Barkley out of 60 minutes. You assume Philly's half on defense, half on offense. So that's 30, right? And then if he comes out a couple of plays or one play every 4 downs, right? That's another quarter of the remaining time left. And then if Jalen Hurts throws 1 or 2 times every 4 downs, and you hear where I'm going with this? When you go to see LeBron play, you go to see LeBron play defense and offense, and he's going to touch the ball every possession, damn near every possession. He's going to touch the ball if he's in the game. And just the fact that you have players, one, who are so visible, you see their face. I'll be honest with you. If I were to see Saquon Barkley walking down the street right now, I don't know that I'd recognize him. Now, I know I won't recognize him. I won't. There's a handful of football players you recognize. Basketball players, 6'8", built like a brick, right? You're going to recognize them. That the NBA just has some stuff, when they compare the NBA to the NFL. Another thing, right? The NFL is built so that it wins, so that it has huge ratings. Every Sunday, when everyone is off, it's a gathering, it's an event. If they played 3 or 4 times a week, the ratings would go down. I know this. They don't play 3 or 4 times a week. They play once a week. So it's okay. I will say this, though. Whatever's going on with the NBA and the criticism the NBA takes over the NBA All-Star Game, which I think is very much racial. Hey, this is pure uncut Lakers. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. The heat the NBA takes in many different facets is straight up racial. The NBA is such a black league. There are no white superstars. Correction. There are no white American superstars. I always say, if Michael Jordan was white, he might be running for president of the United States in 2028. Anyway, where was I? Oh, it does not help the NBA when they take games off. That's the one thing that, even that's racial. Some of that is racial. But it's just a bad look. The NBA is so star-centric that when a star sits out of a game, it matters. When I was younger, and you just heard Magic Johnson say this, how Jordan played, 6 years in a row. He played either 82 games or 78 games or something along those lines. How? Nowadays we say why. Well, the fact of the matter is back in the day, you expected to have a great player would have a 12 or 15 year career. And then you get a guy like Kareem, he had 20, Robert Parrish had 22 or something like that. I don't remember. But that was what was expected of you. Nowadays, you have players playing to get that next contract. Right? If you could get one more contract, it could be $50, $60 plus $1 million a year. And that's what you got players playing for. And that's the reason why it all goes back to where we started from, right? That's the reason why the NBA All-Star Game sucks. Not that it was great back in the day. You watch people post these videos and it's like, oh, this is what the NBA All-Star Game used to be. But that was a play or two, right? It was more intense. It was not all that. I'm telling you that right now. It just wasn't. It was a poorly played game in which the players were trying to entertain the crowd. And back then, it was a lot easier to entertain the crowd. Like, look at the dunk contest. The dunks now are way better than they were back in the day. But back in the day, they didn't criticize the players for the dunks that they did. Now it's like, you didn't entertain me, I'm pissed at you. And I'm going to relate this back to Trump. Trump keeps winning, right? Because he understands the value of quote unquote entertaining the crowd. I'm not entertained by that stupid foolishness. You think I'm not entertained because he gets on the mic and drops F-bombs. Or simulates filleting a microphone. Right? Or tries to make me laugh. I was never that person. Show some substance or get out of my face. I don't care. You know? But back in the day, people appreciated the fact that these guys, these men, were trying to entertain them. People don't appreciate that anymore. People ask, well, how come LeBron doesn't go out and do the NBA Slam Dunk Contest? What does he have to gain? What, fodder for Stephen A. Smith? I wouldn't do the Slam Dunk Contest if I was him either. LeBron is not a Slam Dunk Contest dunker. He's an in-game dunker. So when these people ask, well, how come LeBron never did the Slam Dunk Contest? Who cares? Who cares? Why is it that there's only a handful of the greatest players who do the Slam Dunk Contest? I'm talking about now. I'm not talking about the Jordans, the Dominique Wilkins, etc. Dr. J. I'm talking about now. Why do you see 4 no-names, 6 no-names in the dunk contest? Because those 6 no-names have something to gain. If you're a star in the dunk contest getting paid $60 million a year, unless you could come in and just blow the socks off of everyone, you have nothing to gain. If you go in there and you're LeBron James and you lose to Trey Murphy III, you're fodder for sports talk shows. That's what you become. So why participate? What's the point? The NBA is a league where everything matters. I'm telling you, it's the flip side to how this country looks at Donald Trump, where nothing matters. Dude went and said, get rid of DEI. Right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEIA. I can't remember what the A is. But he said, get rid of DEI. People are going to be hired on merit. Which implicitly means that, and I know what it means, because they used to say the same thing when I was younger about affirmative action. Right? It means that if you're black, you might not have deserved the job. Meanwhile, flip side of that coin, if you're white, you're not to be questioned. That's what that means. Right? When they talk about people getting accepted into colleges, they're not talking about Asians, and they're not talking about white people. They're not talking about Nigerians who score higher than anyone on standardized tests, speak multiple languages. They're not talking about them. They're talking about American blacks and Hispanics. Right? My point is, we all know this, and no one cares because it's Donald Trump. In the same way, I could explain to you right now why NBA basketball players don't show out in the NBA All-Star game, because there's nothing to win and only something to lose. Right? You don't care. You don't care because it's okay. It's okay to go on TV and slam these guys and make a week and a half worth of material for Get Up, for First Take, for Colin Cowherd show. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to slam these dudes, and it just blows my mind that it's only these dudes, right? It ain't NHL. It's not the NFL. Freaking NFL plays flag football now, and you know what? I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. You could get hurt playing football. What you gonna get hurt over an All-Star game for? What's the point in doing that? Getting hurt playing an All-Star game. That's dumb. I respect you guys for protecting your bodies and protecting. I have no beef with that. My beef is that people act like they don't get it when they do. If you're 18 years old and it's this young 11, 12-year-old kid, people keep talking about, got the baddest handle, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Dude could ball, this, that. You know what? If you're that 18-year-old kid, you better think twice about playing this dude. You know what it's like? I'll play. You play that 12-year-old kid, 11, 12-year-old kid, he don't got to win. He just got to cross you up a couple of times, and he won. What do you have to do to beat him? You get into a fight, you're 6'3", and you get into a fight with some dude, he's 5'3", a foot shorter than you, weighs 98 pounds, and you're 255, 270, whatever, right? And he got on glasses and looked like a nerd. If he loses that fight, this little dude, if he loses that fight, what else has he lost? If he wins that fight, what has he won? If you, 6'5", 280, lose that fight, what did you lose? You know what I mean? If you win that fight, what did you win? You were supposed to win it anyway. Right? Yo, the NBA All-Star Game is a no-win situation. If somebody were to jump from the top of the key and slam dunk, yeah, you could win. Ain't nobody doing that. You know? It's no way to win that situation. And, that's all like I said, no Laker game. I ain't got nothing else to talk about, so I decided to talk about this. Again, this is Pure Uncut Lakers. Please like and subscribe, and I'll hit you next time.